Hello, everybody. It looks as if I am live. Yes, great. Oh, yeah, I've got my mic on. Okay, good. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's well. And again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Julie Montague is my name. The channel is American Viscountess. And I will be doing 1 to 2 times a week for who knows how long, but an update on my dissertation, but really more importantly, the discoveries that I've made about the American heiress, who was the 9th Countess of Sandwich, an American, of course, like me, from Chicago, just like me, had 4 children, just like me, lots of similarities here. And she was, of course, my husband's great-grandmother. So during these sessions, they're usually about an hour long. And so you can come back in anytime you want to. I'll be here for the next hour. With the chat on the side, do chat amongst yourselves. I go back on replay and look at the chats, and that leads me to saying a huge thank you. So many of you have reached out with really, really invaluable information, and I'm going to be reading some of that tonight. Some of the information that you all have dug through and found for me is going to help shape my dissertation. So I cannot thank you enough. And again, thank you for everybody who's joining. It looks like everybody from around the world. Shauna's here as well. And Shauna is a patron of American Viscountess. And Shauna, I just realized I haven't put the link to the Patreon account, but you're here and that's the most important thing. If you are interested in becoming an American Viscountess patron, I will put the details down below in the chat. All of the support from a Patreon account goes towards making these very, very important historic house episodes. So do check out on my channel season 1 and season 2 of American Viscountess, and I start filming season 3 of American Viscountess tomorrow. So if you are interested, again, all of the support from the American Viscountess, from our American Viscountess patrons goes into creating incredible, high-quality productions around historic houses across the UK, these really important historic houses that their stories need to be told, and they are high quality production. They've been compared to PBS productions, BBC productions. That's how high quality they are. We want to do it the right way. Our series producer is Victoria Page. She was with the BBC for over a decade, and she's incredible. And she is the director and writer of also and produces these episodes. So do consider becoming a patron. You'll get lots of behind the scenes bits as well. And of course, American Viscountess goodies, as I like to say. Thank you all. So this is brilliant. I even have somebody here from Bologna. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Come stai, come stai. You know that's my second favorite language. Probably it's my first. But I really want to dive in. We have so many of you joining, which is absolutely fantastic. Today was a huge day, everybody. I went to the Dorset archives, if you like, with my father-in-law, the 11th Earl of Sandwich, and we were there for various reasons, but one of the reasons that I went is because I wanted to discuss with the person that we had our meeting with about the equipment that I would need in order to digitize this. Many of you have had questions about how am I digitizing this? When will this happen? And I think I have it pretty much sussed. Now, there's 3 things that really need to happen. I haven't been able to show you all yet, unless you watch a previous video on the Muniment room, which is an archive room in a historic house. One of our big projects here at Mapperton is to restore that Muniment room, but also today I was able to figure out a couple more things that we want to include in that room. First of all, some fire-safe cupboards. So tonight, my homework tonight is researching fire-safe cupboards. So even digitizing these extraordinary letters here, and I'm going to put them up, digitizing Alberta's handwriting, of course, is one thing, but saving these letters and making sure they're in a fireproof cupboard is really important. So that is really, really important. I've also looked at the equipment for digitizing, and I was able to look at, in one sense, kind of the board, and it has almost like a sliding scale on top, and the camera is on top, and then you can move the camera up and down depending on how big the paper is. If it's a photograph like this one of Solomon Sturges's bank in downtown Chicago, Alberta's grandfather's bank, we're going to frame this one, but we want to take a photo of this and have a digital archive. And so it's being able to make sure that you have enough space. So tonight is my research around that. And again, with that board, we want lights on either side, the camera up here, and then we can start to at least take photos of these and upload them to the cloud. Now, part 3, if you like, is of course transcribing these letters. Alberta's writing is beautiful, but some of it is difficult for me to read, although I am getting my head around it. One of the things I have been able to implement is when I'm reading her letter, I will put dictation on my computer under Pages, obviously the program Pages, and I can dictate while I'm reading and save a copy of that. But of course, a whole host of other things goes into preserving these letters, but also making sure that they're well documented so that they're cataloged in the right way. So my meeting today with Dorset Archives was incredible because I really understood how I will be able to catalog these letters, and so that when we do put these letters out to the public onto a public forum, that people will be able to easily search for them. That is the game plan. But again, this is going to be a long process, and I hope many of you will stick with me through this long process. So I do want to start out with some of the letters that I've been able to get through, which again have been incredibly eye-opening. Thank you, Milagro. Thank you so much for your donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All donations here will go towards the cost of getting the right equipment. So I will be doing a fundraiser very, very soon. Probably, maybe not the next live, but the one after that. And where I'll be doing crowdfunding for the equipment that I need to archive this at home. It is less expensive for us to purchase it ourselves than it is for us to outsource this. I talked to about that cost with Dorset Archives today, and to give them all of this material and have them archive it themselves would be thousands and thousands of pounds, whereas a more or less expensive way is, of course, buying the equipment myself, fundraising for the equipment, and then me doing the work with hopefully some volunteers that we can get in the local area who can help me digitize and even read some of the letters. But it has to be the right catalog system. It can't just be taking a photo of it and then uploading it to the cloud. It needs to be properly cataloged. I'll also be looking at fundraising, the same crowdfunding for those fire storage units. And I will be looking at crowdfunding for the restoration of the Muniment Room. I was in here the other day with somebody who comes on a volunteer basis, and she's looking into the 6th Countess of Sandwich, Sally, and she believes she's been here for a very long time. And she said the Muniment Room is the same today as it was in the 1970s. It hasn't been touched. So the next live that I will be doing, I'm going to be starting in the Muniment Room so you can see the state of the Muniment Room and the repairs that need to be done. So this will be a crowdfunding focus as well, that we hopefully can all work together towards. So thank you all for your wonderful comments. Should we get into the letters? Incredible letters that I found, everybody. So those of you who are just joining, I'm doing my master's in country house studies at the University of Buckingham, and my dissertation, yes, it is a dissertation, not a thesis. I know that sometimes can confuse people, but it is a 25,000 word dissertation. Thank you all for your donations. Donations here will go directly towards buying the equipment. I will have more costs once I do my due diligence on the equipment needed to archive here. archive here at Mapperton with the camera and the board and the lights and the fireproof storage and redoing. We have the designs ready for the monument room. Everything here is that I'm talking about here will go towards those costs, all of them. And I will have a breakdown of those costs, and I will be setting up a site that we can all donate to. But those of you who are donating now, that will be divided and put into, so we can see we already have $15 worth of donations. We've got another $10. That's $25 worth of donations. These donations will go towards the cost of the equipment that I need to digitize letters. How many letters? They asked me that today at Dorset Archives. Thank you, Tina, Wendy, Cher, and Milagro for your donations. The person that we spoke to thought that there might be around 500 letters, and I think I shocked him, blew him out of the water, and said, my guesstimate is that there are at least 3,000 letters. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. This is amazing, you guys. This is absolutely incredible. 3,000 letters that need to be digitized. They need to be meta tagged. They need to be obviously transcribed, because it's sometimes, as you can see from these letters, it is tricky. And each of these letters take me about 10 minutes, if not more, to read them. 3,000 letters times 10 minutes, blah, I'm doing the maths. And we have an incredible chat revenue already of £40, and that will go towards the cost. And I'll have more information on that during my next live next week. Just give me a week to source the equipment that we need and the fundraising that we need. But the amount that we're getting today will go towards that. So paper is spread everywhere. Right now I'm in the dining room here at Mapperton, and this is not the ideal space to be doing my work, but until that monument room gets restored, it will, when I say restored, it's just a splash of paint, some of the books moved. A lot of it is physical labor from me and putting the right equipment in there. I'm working in here. So I am working in here. So I've started out really my dissertation. I want to know the background of Alberta. I want to know her history as far as what it was like for her as a little girl. And that is really shaping the person that I'm starting to get to know. I stay up way late into the evenings reading these letters, and they astound me, everybody. They absolutely astound me, what I'm learning about this wonderful, lesser known, in fact, almost unknown American heiress who came over here for at least 2 seasons, possibly 3. Thank you so much, Allison. Possibly 3 seasons, and was being married off most likely by her mother. And I'm going to get into that as well. It's not saying that her mother was a bad person. She wasn't, but her mother was ambitious. But ambitious in the different ways that we've seen those ambitious mothers in films like Downton Abbey or different books that we've read about the American heiress. This mother, Betty McLeod, was ambitious in a completely different way. And I'm going to talk to you about that today because it is rather eye-opening. So the letters that I've been starting to look was really from the time that her mother remarried. So let's backtrack. Alberta was born in 1877 to Betty McLeod, part of Clan MacLeod in the Isle of Skye, Scotland, and William Sturges, a huge wealthy family in America due to the invention of the grain elevator. And she did come from a wealthy family. However, her father, her biological father, William Sturges, married Betty McLeod, he was 35 years older than Betty McLeod. That is a huge difference. So her father was in his 50s when Alberta was born. Her father had some rough go of it financially and was brought to court for a big case, ended up winning it, but it pretty much bankrupted him, and in one sense, it caused a lot of grief in the family, and he died when he was in his early 70s. Her mother then, so I believe he died in 1894, and her mother remarried in 1899. There we go. Her mother remarried Frank Leggett in 1899. So right now what I've been doing is looking through the letters from the time that her mother remarried to those times that Alberta started to travel across the big wide ocean to Paris and to London to do her seasons. And so today is all about, in one sense, looking at those seasons and what they've been doing. So many of the letters that I have here are from Cannes. And the letters that I'll be reading today, Alberta is mentioned many, many times. These letters are mostly from Betty McLeod, Alberta's highly ambitious mother, to Frank Leggett, the stepfather, or Betty's husband. And it's pretty incredible. So I'm going to start with, we know that she was in season here in 1903, 2 years before she married George Montague. And I think that that is really dates that I need to understand and the seasons that happened. So I'm just going to carefully put these aside. These letters, I believe, were typed out by Alberta. There was a period that we've talked about before that I still haven't gotten into because it's from about 1926 to 1940 that Alberta was definitely diagnosed with diabetes, but she also stayed in her room for long periods of time. And so, yes, I believe so, Rhonda. I believe so. I'll have to, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. Yes. So I'm going to start at a letter here. And it's from Bruton Street, Berkeley Square. So this is a house that they rented during the season, the London season. And this is July 22nd, 1903. It's quite interesting, some of it. And it says, "Dearest." So this is, again, Betty McLeod writing to her husband, Frank Leggett, and while he's in New York. And it says, "To Frank Leggett in New York from Betty McLeod." It says, "Dearest, both Alberta and Hollister," and remember, Hollister is Alberta's brother, "write glowing accounts of your kind letter to Alberta. Hollister writes she, Alberta, was much exhausted by the journey, although they stopped overnight at Freiburg by the way. I shall see her very soon, however, as I am gradually dismissing my household." She does write this, and I'm just going to read what she wrote. "I feel exactly as you do about servants. The best of them I want relief from, and the feeling I am not supporting them. If the fiscal elections take place in England this autumn, all parliamentarians will be at their constituencies and out of London, and there will be no House of Commons and a dull autumn. So if the House lets until Easter, I will take a tenant. If not, I will come back in the autumn." So she's very much talking about really what's going to happen to the House. And it just says, "The coffee has just come, but not reached me yet. All my love and admiration." So this is just a letter, 1903. It helps me to establish there wasn't so much in there that I can take from, but there is in this one. Hold on. Here we go. 1 second, everybody. This is, I believe, the one that I want to read about Alberta. Hold on, everybody. It was here. I'm like searching through. Here we go. Yes. Hold on. I just had to go a little bit earlier. And voila. Okay. So what she says in this one is, again, this is to Frank Leggett, and I'm just going to, some of it it's not worth reading because it doesn't necessarily make sense. But this is She writes this, and she's with Alberta. I might enjoy the society of princes in Europe and feel the chill of meeting the Morin Delafield element the minute I return. In fact, I'm sure of it. I'm writing about what people say. It really does sound silly on rereading, but then I simply write what passes in my mind, and it gives you the intimate touch you would get if you were here and heard yourself. Therefore, this is an apology. It is fun seeing other people's domestic inharmonies and turning to my own beloved with confidence. I will try to get a return passage. It is so hot here. So again, it's just establishing a little bit of the letters here, and it is quite funny. Some of the how she's so hot, and I think that's it. As far as so this one I do want to read. It says, "Sweetheart, we leave tomorrow for Paris, happy in the prospect of a few days there. The inventory is being taken now, and we are leaving George, not George Montague, one day behind to see the house properly closed, and then come to Paris and to London, where they pass a day." And then it says, and then on the 5th and 6th of May, we have a ball in London, and it says not so much about Alberta, but it just talks about sort of closing up the house. And here we have this other one, and this mentions Alberta. And again, this is back in New York. So back in in New York, and it says here, Hollister wants his own piano to study nights alone and holidays and have the Steinways in to work at Wagner. He can get one, a beautiful Mason Hamlin, for $295, or $25 down and $10 a month installment. He is to pay 5 or 8, and Alberta the other part of the installment 5 or 2 a month. This arrangement makes it possible for her to have her lessons on the floor 3 to 4 times a week. So you can see that they're sort of pruning Alberta to make sure that she plays the piano. So that is for certain. Now, we've got so many of you on. Yeah. Now, what I want to get into now, and again, it's a little bit about the seasons. These are ones that I definitely need to go through a little bit more. But I want to go to Alberta getting married. And I think that's really, really exciting. Alberta getting married. And here it is. So Alberta was married on July 24th, 1905. And here is a letter from Alberta's half-sister to their father, Frank Leggett. Dear Father, I'm so glad that sister is going to be married to George, who is my brother now. Sister has gone to Paris to buy some dresses. We are going to be bridesmaids. George says he wants 2 little pages to hold up his coattails. I hope you will come over to the marriage. And then she says, sister has asked us to go to her little house in the country when we come back next year. I hope if you do come, you will have a very pleasant voyage. So that is from Alberta's half-sister, who is quite young then. Then we have on June 22nd, and this is where everything starts to get, not that letter, sorry. The wedding was on July 25th. Here we go. So the wedding was on July 25th, and here it is. Aha. This was written June 26th, 1905, and it was written from Frank Leggett to Betty. Dear wife, while sitting before a blazing fire of white birch logs today, your very interesting and affectionate letter of the 14th came in which you wrote that a cablegram was daily looked for and expected from me. But as I had given Alberta my approval and blessing in advance of her acceptance of her suitor, it did not occur to me that a cable message after the announcement would be eagerly looked for. However, to make amends, though rather late to be sure, I cabled from here as follows. my tenderest love and approval, Father. I avoided using congratulations as it would not be in good taste from a parent, although I do feel like congratulating Alberta in winning the love of a man so estimable and so highly regarded, independently of his illustrious family connections and position. I have never before known of an engagement being received with so much applause and enthusiasm, but perhaps that is because it is the first experience in our own family. And then he talks about Hollister, her sister, and it says, I'm so pleased that Alberta's all-absorbing love from George has driven from her heart the last vestige of affection for Wartburg Castle. Now, here is where I need your help. Should I just read that? I am so pleased that Alberta's all-absorbing love for George has driven from her heart the last vestige of affection for, and then he puts in quotes, for quote-unquote, Wartburg Castle. So I need to find out who was living at Wartburg, W-A-R-T-B-E-R-G, Wartburg Castle, in 1905. Was it a person there that she was interested in? And we don't know. Or again, I have this theory that Alberta actually wanted to be a nun. So was there something there? So again, if you do know, grooming, thank you so much. Grooming, Alberta, thank you. If you do know, do let me know, because if we can find out that is going to help explain quite a bit. Then what we have here we go. We have lots of letters of Betty asking for money. Very interesting. But I do have, don't worry, I've got more Alberta ones. They're coming through here because they are actually fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And it is Alberta. Here we go. 1 second. There's lots here, but I want to get to the Alberta. You can see I've got to head through many things here because maybe I did post them out. Do comment amongst yourself while I just find, here we go. Got it, everybody. So this is in 1906, so not quite a year after she was married. And this is from Francie, her half-sister. And she says this to her father, Frank Leggett. Dear Father, a few weeks ago, an angel came and told Sister Alberta that in summer she is to have a baby. We do not know if it is a boy or a girl. We are going to begin to make jackets for it today. And when we get to London, we're going to make a dress. The day before we came here, it was so warm that Sister Alberta had been sitting outside when the sun was shining. So there you go. Alberta is expecting. Yes, Alberta did attend a boarding school. That's exactly right. Thank you all. Alberta did attend a boarding school in Germany. So you're right. Wartburg Castle could be from somebody that she met there. Let's research that in Germany. Absolutely, everybody. This is why I do these lives, because you guys are incredible and I ask questions and you come and help me. So I'm almost getting to the ones I want to get to. 1 second. Here we go. Because it's about baby. The letters that I'm putting over are from Betty to Frank, and so a lot of them aren't relevant because they're just not relevant. But I do have this. You ready? So again, the announcement of the birth, and it says, "Dearest, we cabled you." Here we go. This is Alberta's firstborn child, my husband's grandfather. Are you ready? "We cabled you at 11:30 last night. Leggett, New York boy," is what they said. "After 24 hours, a fine boy weighing 10 pounds was born. Much chloroform, much labor, but great care for her and a beautiful child. A stream of carriages has been here all day. All the Montagues came to luncheon. Lady Agneta, who's a Montague, writing from here to the Queen, Princess Christian, and the Queen of Greece, announcing the birth. It is touching to see their joy. It is a great event for them all. I suppose you will send a cable word. George, as in Alberta's husband, and I were present all day to within the last hour. She will have the greatest care." Hollister, it says, Hollister and Jean, Hollister's Alberta's brother, and Jean, his wife, were in the next room. George, her husband, is the most radiant of men. When we telephoned Agneta, who's a Montague and was George's aunt, whom we had notified before, she wept aloud through the telephone saying, "Are you ready, everybody?" So remember how important it was to produce an heir. Saying, "Tell dear Berta how grateful we are for a boy. It is so like here." Then she writes, "I hope you put it in American papers." And yes, so I hurry off this so you can know some details. You are a grandfather. I am in reality a granny and feel 24. And this is love from Alberta's mother. And so pretty incredible information here. And I absolutely loved that. Some more that I want to go through because this is what it's, oh, here we go. So this is, again, this is about not quite a year, but 11 months after the baby was born. And again, it's Betty writing to Frank. And it's really quite interesting here. It says, oh, it's just so brilliant what they've, I mean, the life, anyway, the life that they lived in some ways were pretty amazing. But it says, the Duchess of Bedford has been with us much, and again, then she continues to write, "Alberta and George are having something that touches very closely to a quote-unquote royal time in Athens, where all the courts are entertaining them. The Montagues, Lady Agneta," again, that is an aunt, "and the Admiral," that is the 8th Earl of Sandwich, "are close friends of the Greek royal family, as well as the English. So the children are benefiting by their distinguished predecessors. After all, if social life has any charm, it must come from either intellectuals, then the distinction of people of position. Baby Montague is still with Lord Sandwich, Lord Sandwich, as in the 8th Earl of Sandwich, and writes, the baby highly approves of Hinchingbrook as residence." So I think it's amazing. Somebody has written that they've, this is fantastic, everybody, the information that you've given me on Wartburg Castle. And it has great religious significance. Brilliant, everybody. It's Wartburg as in B-E-R, well, remember, this was Frank writing it, so he might have written it incorrectly. If it was Wartburg or E-R-G or U-R-G. But I do believe it's U-R-G, everybody. I do believe it's U-R-G. And again, just a couple more letters because I think it's brilliant. So here's the one that I want to read. And then it continues on. It's sort of almost like the next day. Alberta and George are seeing too much of Athenian royalty and prefer seeing Greek statues and famous sites. They are now in Venice. And then she writes that Sandwich, Lord Sandwich, which is at the time the 8th Earl of Sandwich, so this is before Alberta became the Countess of Sandwich, seems absorbed in Victor the boy. So heaven is kind. My husband's grandfather was named Victor, which is brilliant. So seems very, very absorbed in that. And this is where the bit I'm going to get into that it starts to get, I think, a bit sad. So I just want to go back to the date. And this is stuff I actually need to very much research. Everybody hear me out, because I think everybody else is going to feel a bit sad about this as well. This was April 21st, 1907. So we know that George and Alberta's baby was about a year old. My husband's grandfather was about a year old. Now, I'm going to be filming something tomorrow for American Viscountess, and it's the pilot for our new look on how we're going to be creating these historical house episodes. And our pilot is going to be about Alberta, and in particular, the loss of a child. And it's really quite sad. And I've had to do a lot of research around it. And we have already filmed at the location. So we have filmed at the location. And now it's me looking through the research. But I will tell you this, that this was written on April 25th, 1907. And here we go. Is that the one I was just looking at? Yes. Sorry, this was, yes. And it says this. It says, yeah, it's pretty incredible. So she is talking about Hollister, and who is Alberta's brother. And she says that they will no doubt send him, Hollister, to Calcutta in October 1907 for 6 months. And so we know that Hollister, when he left for Calcutta, and he was there for 6 months, he left and he went for work reasons. We're exploring it. He left his baby in the care of Alberta. And it was quite devastating, and it's really sad. And I don't want to give it away. You're going to have to watch that. It's not going to be alive. We will be creating a proper American Viscountess episode on it. And if you become an American Viscountess patron, you have early access to that. So do remember that if you become an American Viscountess patron, you will have early access to that. So I am going to be exploring that tomorrow, and we've already filmed at the site. It is rather sad. So just a couple more letters, because I think that this is rather fun to read, and just to read a little bit more about these letters that, of course, these letters that are written about Alberta, and but they aren't from her. So again, I still have a ton to go through, but it was really, really important for me to meet. There we go. These letters go here. I have them all in order. This one's here. For me to meet with the Dorset Archives this morning. I have to make sure all this goes right into the right place, which it does. So I'm getting much more of a feel of Alberta, and at the beginning of her marriage, I'm just going to pull one letter from here. The beginning of her marriage, it was all sort of happy, if you like. And we know that then things started to turn. And that's where it can get quite sad. So I'll be looking at, I mean, it's just, it gets very, very sad. And so those are the things I'll be looking at. Sorry, I'm just looking at these letters here, everybody, because they are pretty incredible. And these are the letters that I really wanted, I think that's to look at. That is quite an important one. Yeah, I've got to go through. I mean, I can read some of these, but I don't think you guys want to hear me for try to basically extract these, to sort of decipher these letters. So again, oh, I know what I wanted to read. So if I can just pull this up, if everybody can just wait a second, and I'm going to pull up what somebody sent me, because this feeds into my idea that Alberta, okay, you guys are doing great stuff on Wartburg there. Amazing, amazing. Thank you, thank you. And again, I look at all these comments afterwards. So if I just pull this up quickly, and yeah, where was that? Sorry, everybody. I'm just pulling it up really, really quickly because to me, it's pretty important. I must have flagged it. I try to file everything. There we go. And here it is. I'm certain that I flagged this. Well, gosh, I really wanted to read this. 1 second, everybody. Give me 1 second, because this is the bits that I do want to read, and I had it pulled up. And got it. Thank you. I just put it in the wrong thing. Okay, so one of the things obviously I'm discovering is that Alberta had a real connection with Swami Vivekananda. I found letters that have made me question whether she wanted to be married or if she wanted to become a nun. And somebody sent me volumes 1 and 2 of Sister Nivedita. I hope I'm saying that the right way. Nivedita, which is called Margot. I read a couple of those letters, her letters. And there are more, but these are found in an archive, but I've also ordered those volumes. And she writes this. So she's writing, Margot, Sister Nivedita, I know I'm saying it the wrong way, so please excuse me. Nivedita is writing this to Alberta's aunt, Josephine MacLeod, who was a big follower of Swami Vivekananda, never married, gave a life of service to others. And she writes, so Margot, the sister Nivedita, is writing to Josephine about Alberta's marriage. And she writes, July 6, 1905, the year 2 weeks before Alberta's married. There is no question to my mind about Alberta Sturges' marriage to George being a step forward, not back. This is very interesting, and I'm going to need your help to translate, not to make sense of it, really. Mere unmarriedness does not in itself constitute anything. I fancy that Alberta's aim has always been to be carried like a straw on the tide of the will, and will is capitalized, and that may as well carry her into marriage as into a convent. And then it says, she will find that all her past is like money put into a bank, all her future, the enjoyment of the interest. So it's like all the work that she's done, working on herself, service to others, is put into the bank, and then her future, she can enjoy the interest of that. Then there's another, this gets very interesting, everybody. So please, so this is 6 days later. This is 2 weeks before Alberta's married. And again, Sister Nivedita Margot writes to Alberta's aunt, Josephine MacLeod, and writes this. Mother writes me that Alberta Sturges' wedding is on the 23rd. It's actually 25th. But so a few days before you receive this letter, she will have left you and it will all be over. I feel sure that she is going to great happiness, and I know that he is. It was so nice of you to have Mother all by herself for the news. She dearly loves a wedding. It has sometimes seemed to me that there has been one great danger in the high ideals which we have drunken. We have rated nunhood so high that wifehood has seemed low beside it. But more and more I have come to feel that this is untrue. In the one vow, as in the other, there is a daily faithfulness of word, thought, and deed required of us, and the fulfillment cannot be too austere. The husband is a motive of self-consecration, just as the altar is. Marriage, to be kept ideal, means walking on a path long and difficult, sharp as the edge of a razor, and the way so hard to find! It is for good women like our sweet Alberta, and like others one could name. No yielding to a thirst, no yielding or self-indulgence of any kind. It is a great giving, an infinite tenderness, a solemn quiet and joy, and such a compassion. I'm going to read this because this is really going to help me sort of pick this apart, and please do comment while I read. Then she says, but why do I say all this? Because I feel that you and I have gone through much torture and confusion of mind from the fact that Swami Vivekananda was a man and could see women only from the outside. All that he taught us was true, of course, but it was not the whole truth. Indeed, I almost venture to say that he lived in many things more truly than he spoke. And so then he talked as if the things said of women by the books were true. But what did he live? He lived as if women were minds, not bodies. He made the highest demands. He assumed that they were selfless, and his demands were answered. And my conclusion is that he saw life unconsciously as an organic whole in which each part was justified. That marriage is a ritual, a temple, a worship. That widowhood is nunhood. That the servant of man is far, far higher than the saint, but also rare. And then she goes on to say, here's the paragraph about Alberta again. It says, marriage has its temptations, God knows, but for women like Alberta, they are not the crude temptations of the monk's imagining. They are temptations to dullness, to love of being first, and other sins of psychic kind. And I am sure that the nun is the true wife, just as the wifely or Mother Nature makes the best nun. I'm sure too that there is no special thing called a wife or a wife's love. Love is one, undifferentiated, when it is true. And the thing that the child cries out for is the same that the husband needs. So to me, Alberta remains the same Alberta, always a nun at heart, though she be a wife. Just as ideal when worshiping in her home as when worshiping in a church. So, and then it's and then she says, I hope you've enjoyed Holland, etc., etc. And I think for me, those two letters are really difficult for me to unpick. And it's really, really difficult for me to unpick this. And there is the letters in there to Alberta. It says, this is again from, I don't have the letter that Alberta wrote to Margot, but I do have the letter that Margot wrote back to Alberta, where she says, every word of your letter I understand with my whole heart. Remember, all nunhood leads only to one point, that we be servants of man at the will of God. And then she says, when you read this, you will be a wife. The wifehood you will reach higher and further. You will offer not to one alone, but to the whole world, without one particle of benefit to yourself. What you have gathered and garnered through many a lifetime may be in the convent cell. So I do think that I do think that there is it's tricky, this one. She did say this. She says, just before leaving for London, Alberta wrote of it to me as the city of confusion. We little thought then of what she would take away from it next, meaning her marriage to George. So again, do let me know. You guys are commenting great. Just, oh my gosh, so many comments coming through. This is crazy. No, I think, was Alberta Catholic? No, not that I can see. I can see that she was very religious, as you can see from the coat of arms that she had created. Remember, this is impaled. You'll see the Montague lozenges on one side, and then you'll see what she had created on the left, which is 3 crosses. So I am going to go through a lot of your comments here, because I think it's confusing, and I need to really find out what it means. So again, if any of you have any ideas and there are comments coming through, do let me know. Women did have a lot less choice in her time. And I think, in my view, what Laura says here, that Alberta was feeling she couldn't serve as a wife and the sister and a nun at the same time, and the sister was letting her know that she could. I think that's where that she could serve in either way. And I think that's where I'm leading towards, absolutely. And she did give up what she wanted for her family. That is absolutely what I'm leaning towards. What I'm going to end with, everybody, is end with, I've got to put this here so I don't lose that, is end with the letters, the other letters that I have found, and I need to go through them one by one, but luckily they are typed out, is that Betty, Alberta's mother, remember when we talk about the Gilded Age and these American heiresses, and it was all about exchanging cash for titles, and in particular, it was the mothers that were pushing the daughters to marry because the mothers wanted to be accepted back in New York society, right? I had created that assumption around Alberta and assumed that around Alberta, but no. I'm finding out something completely different. Betty, her mother, was uninterested in socializing in America. In fact, there are letters that she's writing to her husband, Frank, that she feels that Americans aren't cultured enough, and she's uninterested. She doesn't care about high society in New York. She feels that she's better than them, and that she has always wanted a European lifestyle. And the daughter, Alberta, if she married right, could give that to her. Betty, her mother, was so unbelievably social in Europe, not in America. She looked at Americans, even the high society ones, as uncultured. She was a step ahead, a step above everybody else. And she wanted to socialize with royalty and nobility. So the push for Alberta did come from the mother, but because the mother wanted to spend much more time in Europe, and that is what she did do after Alberta married George. She spent loads and loads of time here, and parties and dinner parties, going to parties. There's a whole box filled here from Betty McLeod, to and from Betty McLeod, of dinner parties, being asked, acceptance letters, who she's socializing with. And it's absolutely astounding, where her husband, Frank Leggett, definitely wanted to he was much more of a homely man, as in he wanted to stay at home in New York, and in obviously their house in Stone Ridge, Ridgely House. He wanted nature. He was a quiet man. He wanted to stay at home. He was uninterested in traveling. So yes, exactly. And that is no wonder Alberta hated society. So you guys, thank you all for joining me for these lives. It's so wonderful to have you on. I can't begin to tell you how important it is for me to have you on and to get your input and really your 2 cents. And especially when I'm just kind of going through these letters and reading them aloud and trying to understand what was happening during the time. And it really is, it's incredible. So we will be doing this once a week. I know today's was a little bit more disjointed, but it's because I didn't have much time to go through the letters, because I was with my father-in-law at the Dorset Archive prior to this, and we spent a couple of hours there. And so I wasn't able to get it exactly how I wanted to, but I still have, I'm just going to show you. This is the next pack of letters to go through, and this is all Alberta's handwriting here. This is literally a drop in the ocean, you guys. I wish you could see how many letters there are. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to quickly step behind the camera and then bring this over, so to show you other letters that I need to get through. Sally has been here. Sally is a volunteer here, and she's the one working on the 6th Countess of Sandwich. And as she was going through the muniment room, look at these boxes, everybody. She put these out for me, and she says, Julie, I have been through these 4 boxes and included them in my catalog of files. All 4 have correspondence relating to Alberta. I thought I should leave them out in case they're of use to you. When you finish with them, she told me where they live, so what she has more, are you ready, everybody? Number 89, 1890s and 1930s to 40s. There is more Vivekananda, letters, family trees, photos, press cuttings. I got to get through all that. 90, file number 90, there's 4 here. It's more Alberta, George, Vivekananda, Betty, and this is 1920s to 1930s. Then we have 91. This is when she gets, sorry, this is 91. This is when she's a little bit older and she has her 4 children. So I don't know if I'll look through those so much, but then we also have here, we have letters. Oh, there's the clock. Oh, it's about to go off. We have letters here, circa 1940. We've got photos in here. Her daughter goes to Chicago in 1934. Everybody, this is insane what I need to go through. So I can see Alberta there. I mean, this is pretty incredible. So this is right here. I knew that was Alberta. I can spot her a mile away. Oops, sorry, this one. There we go. Oh, so this is Swami and Tontine and, oh, no, this one. I keep picking up the wrong one. This is Swami, Tontine. It's not Alberta. And Mrs. Sawton. So it's Jojo, Swami. So there are photos of here of Swami Vivekananda. I mean, how crazy is that, everybody? There are, I mean, this is insane. There's just, oh, everybody, there's so much to go through. And these are all Alberta's, from letters to an American family. I don't know what that means, but this is Alberta's writing. So I'm going to have to go through all of this. And it looks very much like a diary, if I'm perfectly honest, everybody. Actually, this looks like it could be Alberta's diary. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is in Paris. Okay, this is insane, everybody. What it's crazy. It's crazy. So it's a bit bonkers. This is just the beginning, everybody. Oh my gosh. This is just the beginning. All these letters. So you can see my boxes here. Yeah, it's a bit nuts. There we go. So, I think I'm going to stick this back there. And thanks, everybody. I'm waiting for, I think we, yes, did she want to write a book? Amazing. Yeah, that is the question. You know, did she want to write a book? I just don't know. It's incredible. So thank you all so much. It's an incredible collection of letters, and obviously I feel really fortunate that I have these. People are saying everybody's addicted to this. So if everybody's, do comment down below. I want to keep this up. I want to make sure. I want to make sure that we're meeting once a week and that everybody's enjoying this. So everybody's enjoying this. So, which would be fantastic. And again, that's right. Diary is even better. I agree. So next time we meet next week, I will have more, but do look out for on YouTube coming very soon. I finish filming the pilot tomorrow for American Viscountess Season 3. And of course, we will be doing fundraising. So date and time for the next meeting. I'm probably going to try to do this when I'm here. I'm here at Mapperton 3 to 4 days a week. So I will probably try to do this in the middle of the week around 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And it'll either be a Wednesday or a Thursday. Yeah, so either a Wednesday or a Thursday, but do make sure you turn notifications on so that you can find out when. That is the most important. Brilliant, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to sign off, and thank you for all of you who donated. That's incredible. Thank you so much for all of you who donated. That's £50, £47.99. That is going to go towards the crowdfunding, which I will put together, and about getting the digitization, but I'm just sort of a little bit in awe right now of these enormous boxes. And by the way, there's still tons more out there. This was just some that Sally pulled for me. All right, bye everybody. And I'll see you guys next week. And brilliant. Thank you all so much.